Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Indonesia, the first stop on his three-nation tour. This visit to Indonesia, it forms part of a wider tour that also includes Australia and New Zealand. Now, Prime Minister Modi held delegation-level talks with Indonesia's President Prabowo Subianto, following bilateral talks between the two leaders and an exchange of MOUs. The Indian delegation includes National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri. According to the Ministry of External Affairs, there were several big announcements, which includes cooperation on BrahMos system. Further, following New Delhi's proven success in air-to-air missile capabilities during Operation Sindoor, Jakarta will import Indian Astra missile. The two nations will also plan to jointly develop Sabang port, which overlooks the Strait of Malacca and is 100 miles away from India's Great Nicobar Port project. In a joint address, President Subianto, Prime Minister Modi, they underscored the deepening bilateral ties between India and Indonesia, describing the growing partnership as a new golden chapter that holds significant promise for the 21st century.
2018 में बनी हमारी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप आज एक नई उड़ान ले रही है। हम डेवलपमेंट, सिक्योरिटी, टेक्नोलॉजी, कल्चर और एजुकेशन हर क्षेत्र में महत्वपूर्ण कदम बढ़ा रहे हैं। मुझे विश्वास है आज से भारत इंडोनेशिया साझेदारी का एक सुनहरा अध्याय शुरू होगा।
Earlier in the day, President Subianto announced that Indonesia has conferred its highest honor upon Prime Minister Modi. The high-level engagement commenced with a grand ceremonial welcome in Jakarta, where Indonesia rolled out a spectacular reception. Horse-mounted guards, a ceremonial guard of honor, and vibrant traditional cultural performances marked the arrival of the Prime Minister, who was personally received with a warm hug by President Prabowo. This official visit to Indonesia, running from July 6 to 8 at the personal invitation of President Prabowo, it marks his fourth journey to the Southeast Asian country. It is Prime Minister Modi's first visit since the two countries elevated their bilateral ties to a comprehensive strategic partnership in 2018. While in Indonesia, Prime Minister Modi will also interact with the Indian diaspora and visit the Prambanan Temple complex in Yogyakarta with President Prabowo. For more on this, WION's Assistant Editor Foreign Affairs Siddhant Sibal is joining us live. Siddhant, several MOUs have been exchanged. Even the Prime Minister was conferred with Indonesia's highest honor. Where do you see the relations moving forward, and what could be the tangible outcomes out of these talks?
Well, this is a significant visit and significant outcomes, from defense to space to agriculture, to focus on essentially how both sides can collaborate in education sector. But undoubtedly, it's the defense sector, the BrahMos and the Astra defense announcement will go a long term in terms of first how India is seen as an export market, and secondly in terms of how the Southeast Asian countries are looking towards India for defense acquisitions. Now, before that, we know that Vietnam was in conversation. There is a deal that has already happened when it comes to BrahMos. Philippines was the first country, and Indonesia has become the third country in terms of acquisition of BrahMos technology, the missiles from India. Now, other than defense, focus also on connectivity. India and Indonesia will develop the Sabang port, which is a crucial strategic project just on the mouth of the Strait of Malacca. In education sector, the IIM Bengaluru will be opening its campus, its branch in Indonesia, that shows that how India is also exporting education. And remember that earlier the campuses of Indian education centers have opened in Africa, and India is in talks with countries of the region for opening up of branches of Indian education centers. But emphasis on the civilizational relationship. These are two countries which are neighboring countries. Many would not know, but yes, India and Indonesia are separated with just a few kilometers in many ways when it comes to India's Andaman and Nicobar Island and Indonesia's Aceh province. And this visit, of course, will help firm up the relationship. There is an announcement on India helping restore an important temple in Indonesia, and tomorrow we will see visuals from that as the Indian Prime Minister and the Indonesian President will together inaugurate the process of the restoration. And we saw colorful visuals coming from Jakarta earlier today with that very grand ceremony to welcome the Indian Prime Minister. So all in all, the first leg of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Indonesia is a visit that is not only high profile but full of outcomes that helps both countries from food security to education.
Of course, Siddhant, it does look like India's wider vision of Indo-Pacific will be aligned with this meet with Indonesia. Thank you for sharing us the latest.